So this chapter talks about tsunami, and the spelling is really different, wherein T remains silent and we only pronounce S-U-N-A-M-I, but T is always accompanied even though it is silent. And tsunami is a natural disaster that is caused by the ocean waves, the sea waves, by any water body it can be, and they are very hard, they are very harsh. Not only animals and human beings, it can just swipe away with it entire buildings, and it causes massive destruction. So without wasting a single moment, we'll begin with this chapter in which we are going to know different personal experiences of the people who have actually felt this and how they saved their lives and the lives of others. A tsunami is very large and powerful wave caused by earthquakes under the sea. So what happens that everywhere the land is there. So even if I talk about a sea, there is a land over there. Under that land, earthquake occurs, because of which there are violent waves in the sea, and those violent waves are referred to as tsunami. On 26 December 2004, a tsunami hit Thailand and parts of India such as Andaman and Nicobar Island and the Tamil Nadu coast. So these are the places that were hit by the tsunami in the year 2004, and the month was December. Here are some of the stories of courage and survival. Now, did animals sense that a tsunami was coming? It's a general question. Why have we put this question is because when we'll move on further, you'll see that there were some animals that saved the lives. So, it's a question that comes to our mind, that can animals sense danger? Can animals sense that there is something that is going to go wrong? Some stories suggest that they did. These stories are all from Andaman and Nicobar archipelago. Ignatius, now here we begin. Ignatius was the manager of a cooperative society in Kachol. His wife woke him up at 6 a.m. because she felt an earthquake. Now all the members were sleeping, they both were sleeping. Ignatius was also sleeping, and his wife woke him up because she felt the tremors, the earthquake tremors. She felt as if the earth was shaking. Ignatius carefully took his television set off his table and put it down on the ground so that it would not fall and break. So what happened? Ignatius, he just brought his television set down, he put it down, because if the earth was shaking, the table will also shake and the television set will fall down. Then the family rushed out of the house. Now because they wanted to save their life, so they started feeling as if the danger is big and it won't be going to enough to just protect all the stuff that is there in the house. So they all rushed out of the house to save their lives. When the tremors stopped, they saw the sea rising. Maybe their house was somewhere near the beach, somewhere near the sea. So what did they see? They see that the level of the water in the sea was rising. In the chaos and confusion, two of his children caught hold of the hands of their mother's father and mother's brother and rushed in the opposite direction. Because the sea was towards this side, maybe whichever side the sea was, from that side to the opposite side they started rushing because they wanted to save their lives. He never saw them again. His wife was also swept away. Now Ignatius says that after that incident, I did not see them ever again in my life, and with those huge waves coming towards us, my wife also was swept away. Only the three other children who came with him were saved. So few family members were swept away, and the few who were with Ignatius, they were alive. Ignatius and those three children could save their lives. Sanjeev was a policeman serving in Kachol Island of the Nicobar group of islands. So now here it starts a new person. We are talking about Kachol now, who was serving as a police officer. He somehow managed to save himself, his wife and his baby daughter from the waves, But then he heard cries for help from the wife of John. Now, because must be so many people who must be living in that area, so this was Ignatius that he told his experience. Then came Kachol, who was actually able to save himself, his wife and his baby daughter. But in the meantime, he heard the cries of John's wife also, the guest house cook. Sanjeev jumped into the water to rescue her, but they were both swept away. Now, since Sanjeev was a policeman, it was his duty to save people. What did he do? He jumped into the water, but neither he could save himself nor he could save the John's wife, and they both swept away. 13-year-old Meghna was swept away along with her parents and 77 other people. So this is a story. All people were living in a guest house. That guest house was near sea, and it started with earthquake, and later it turned into tsunami, because before tsunami it is always earthquake. So these two natural disasters, they always accompany each other. She spent 2 days floating in the sea, holding on to a wooden door. 11 times she saw relief helicopters overhead, but they did not see her. What a bad luck. Because whenever there are such kind of natural disasters, there are relief helicopters. And it is very difficult for them, the people who are in the helicopters, to locate one person, because she was floating using a wooden door and they couldn't see her, and she wasn't able to save her life. She was brought to the shore by a wave and was found walking on the seashore in a daze, because from day she has not eaten anything, and after such a big incident she was all shaken. She was in a terrible state. Almaz Javed was 10 years old. She was a student of Carmel Convent in Port Blair, where her father had a petrol pump. Her mother Rahilaz was in Nancori Island. So again, now there are few more people who are associated with this incident. The family had gone there to celebrate Christmas. When the tremors came early in the morning, the family was sleeping, because early in the morning what do people do? Everybody sleeps. But if the shaking is really terrible, you can sense it and then you wake up. So the same thing happened there. Alma's father saw the seawater recede. Recede means going back, because what happens is, what do we do with a pull back car? We just pull it, and then once we leave it, it comes with a great force. So same happens in tsunami. First the water goes back, and then it comes with a great speed, with a great force. So when Alma's father saw that the water is receding, he understood that the water would come rushing back with a great force. He woke up everyone and tried to rush them to a safer place. As they ran, the grandfather was hit on head by something and he fell down. Her father rushed to help him. Then came the first giant wave that swept both of them away. Because it was earthquake also that was happening simultaneously, that something must have fallen down. It could have hurt the head of the grandfather, and the grandfather then and there only he fell down. So Alma's father rushed to save grandfather, but meanwhile a huge wave came and they both swept away. Alma's mother and aunts stood clinging to the leaves of a coconut tree, calling out to her. Imagine how terrible the situation is, wherein you are there but you are so helpless. You cannot save your own family members and your own life is at stake. But when natural disaster occurs, they occur this way only. Recently, we have faced one pandemic that was not because of our actions, but yes, we have faced one such recently. And these earthquakes, these tsunami, these landslides, they cause massive destruction to the properties and to the lives of animals and human beings and everyone. But when they were clinging to the leaves of the tree, what happened? a wave came and it uprooted the tree, and they too were washed away. Because tsunami waves, they, as I told you, they are so strong, they are so massive, they can wash away big and huge and gigantic buildings, the skyrocketing buildings. A tree is nothing for them. So while they were clinging to the tree, the wave uprooted the tree and it washed them away. Almaz saw a log of wood floating. She climbed onto it and then she fainted. When she woke up, she was in a hospital in Kamorta. From there, she was brought to Port Blair. The little girl does not want to talk about the incident with anyone. She is still traumatized because she was the only one member which I believe was alive. Her entire family was swept away, and that incident she witnessed from her own eyes. She was there, she couldn't do anything, and now none of her family member is with her. So we can very well understand her state of mind. We can understand that how traumatized she must be. Now we'll begin with the next story, the same chapter but different parts of it. Tilly Smith, she's a British schoolgirl, was able to save many lives when the tsunami struck Phuket beach in Thailand. Though she has won a number of awards, her parents have not allowed their daughter to be interviewed on television and made into a heroine. Why do you think they took that decision? So you can always think of it that even when she was a real hero, why her parents did not want her to be highlighted so much. What I believe the reason could be is it's our moral duty to save people, and nobody can be a hero by doing such acts. I have to save someone's life if I can, and that is why we are called as humans. We are called as smarter than animals, because we can save ourselves, we can save someone else, and that's our moral duty. You could have a different perception for this. Now here's a story from Thailand. Now we are just reading a fresh story, and that's from Thailand. The Smiths family from southeast England was celebrating Christmas at a beach resort in southern Thailand. Tilly Smith was a 10-year-old school girl. So she was not very old, she was not very mature girl, she was just 10 years old. Her sister was 7 years old. Their parents were Penny and Colin Smith, and it was 26 December 2004. Deadly tsunami waves were already on their way. So we have read that they were already on their way. Now this we are talking about different area, but the days and the year and the month, it is the same. They had been triggered by a massive earthquake off northern Sumatra earlier that morning. So what happens, already the waves are very huge, they are very massive, and when accompanied by earthquake, they become like a monster. So they were accompanied by an earthquake. The water was swelling and kept coming in. Penny Smith remembered. The beach was getting smaller and smaller. I didn't know what was happening, because at that time your brain and your body organs, they stop working. As we are not prepared for such kind of massive things, we are not in a state to think and not in a state to decide what to do. And same happened with Penny. She did not know that what was happening. But Tilly Smith sensed that something was wrong. But this girl, she was very smart, and she sensed that if some such kind of things are happening, that means something is terribly wrong here. Her mind kept going back to a geography lesson she had taken in England just 2 weeks before she flew to Thailand with her family. Tilly saw the sea slowly rise and start to foam bubbles and form whirlpool. What happens when there is a tsunami? How can we identify is the water, it starts to make foam and bubbles and it forms whirlpools. So these are some of the incidents, these are some of the actions that happens when tsunami is there. Why have I highlighted it? So that we all are aware. If this can happen with Tilly, it can happen with anyone. She remembered that she had seen this in the class in a video of a tsunami that had hit the Hawaiian Islands in 1946. Now, as the teacher was teaching them a lesson, she showed them a video that what happened when there was a tsunami in the Hawaiian Island, and she was sitting very actively and very vigilant in the class, and she observed that the same phenomena was happening there also, which she watched in the video. Her geography teacher had shown her class the video and told them that tsunamis can be caused by earthquakes, volcanoes and landslides.
To watch the complete video, download the Upbind educational app from Play Store and App Store.